In the book of Matthew, chapter 7, verses 1 and 2, it reads, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Behind every face, there's a story. Behind every situation, there's a story. And as John P. Kee's song, "Life in Favor," it has a line that says, "You don't know my story." Now, we esteem others and we as well as tear down each other based on our standards. When we see a person, for whatever reason, we judge them without knowing their story. For example, the homeless and those less fortunate than us. I took my son down First Avenue one day, and those of you who are familiar with Birmingham, and I showed him some people walking the streets, and I used this uncle as an example, and I wasn't tearing them down, I was just trying to make an example. Because you don't know these people's stories. Some of them are out there by choice, and some of them, life happened to them, like divorce, lost jobs, health issues. They can all put us in these less fortunate positions. But I didn't take him out there for that. I was trying to take him out there to teach him about choice. Because as well as some of those people, life happened to them, some was out there by choice. And I told him, if you make the wrong choices, this could also be you. Now, you can also be you, as I stated, because life happens, but you need to make the best choices that you can while you're young. He was in high school then. I remember my pastor, when I was at Cathedral of the Cross, his name's Mark Burrell, and he taught us about the homeless, and he made an example that some of the homeless are out there by choice. And he said he took a homeless off the street, gave him a job, and suited him up in a house and clothing and food. And the homeless gentleman came back to him a few weeks later and said that he couldn't do this. Responsibility was too much for him. So he's an example of those by choice. And again, we're not picking on him. It's a choice that he made. So some are out there because of a choice. And that was the example I was trying to make to my son. We look at criminals and we say, look at him. Why is he stealing? The book of Proverbs, chapter 6, verse 30, it says, "Men do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his soul when he's hungry." Now, those are out there that are stealing just to be stealing, trying to make a living for themselves instead of going out getting a job. The Bible says if man don't work, he don't eat. But there are jobs out there that you can work without having to steal. But if a man steals to satisfy his soul, because he's hungry, you don't look at him as bad as you would if you look at a person that got the ability to work and won't work. So we can understand that, but in that, you don't judge them because you don't know. That situation has a story. It's just like also prisoners. We don't know why they were in there. We don't know why a person's in prison. My understanding, a lot of them are in there, they're innocent. But you don't know when they get out and you see they have a record and you don't want to deal with them, you're afraid of them. Some of those are good people. I met some of them. Some of them are in there, again, by choice. But you don't know their story. There are plenty of other situations I could talk about, but I think I'm getting my point across. I would like to think I'm getting my point across in that when you see a person, when you judge a person, don't look at them in a way that they're bad or they're this way or they're that way. Look at it as a story. What is the story behind what we see? Sometimes if you talk to them, they'll tell you, I'm in this situation because of this. I'm in this situation because of that. You don't know the story. Find out the story before you judge. And even then, don't judge, because, like I said, you'll be judged by the same measure. And some of the things you've done, some of the things I've done, well, I'm going to leave it at that. But I'm just going to say, as I always say, that's just my 2 cents. Be blessed.